If you're looking for some simple stretches that you can use to unlock flexibility all over the body, then this video is perfect for you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Harlow and I'm the Over-Fifties specialist physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today I'm going to be showing you some easy stretches for over-50s that can unlock flexibility and help to reduce your pain and help your movement. Now, stretching is one of the best forms of exercise for people over 50 because it can help to reduce tension in your muscles and improve range of motion around all the joints in the body. But that being said, the stretches I'm just about to show you are not going to be suitable for everyone. Make sure you get checked out by your doctor before you give them a try. If they cause you pain, just avoid them. And remember, if you've been told you shouldn't do them by a healthcare practitioner, then definitely listen to them over me. Anyway, let's have a look at the stretches now, and if it's safe for you to try, give them a go at home. The first key stretch for unlocking flexibility is the calf stretch. And your calves are these muscles here at the back of the leg, and the reason they're so important is because tight calves limits dorsiflexion, which is this movement of the ankle. If you can't dorsiflex, you can't walk properly because you can't get your heel down, you can't squat because your knees won't be able to go over your toes, and you can't climb stairs either. Now, the other reason that tight calves are really not a good thing for anyone is because they can cause knee pain, they can cause plantar fasciitis, they can cause Achilles tendon problems as well, and a whole list of conditions that tight calves are a risk factor for. So I'm going to show you how to stretch them safely. This is a great stretch and it's one I do all the time. So you just need something to put two hands against. So I'm going to use the wall. I'm going to put two hands on here and I'm going to put the leg to be stretched at the back. So you've got one foot in front of the other and you want both of your feet to be pointing parallel. So they're both pointing perfectly forward. A lot of people set themselves up like this, and that's not a good way to set up a calf stretch. So you want both feet facing forward. You want this heel to be on the floor at the back, and then you're just going to keep this back knee straight and then bend the front knee like this. Now, as you come forward like this, you're going to feel a stretch in the calf of the back leg. Now, one very important thing that I see quite a lot is many people allow their arch on this foot here to collapse when they do this. And if the arch starts to collapse, you don't get the same beneficial effects on the plantar fascia and the foot. So you want to try and keep that arch up. I'm going to show you in a close-up in just a second what that looks like. We want to make sure we've got a bit of a cave on that side of the foot there as we hold the stretch. Now, as with all of these stretches, we're going to hold them for 30 seconds. So you can join in with me at home and hold this one for 30 seconds here until we start to feel that there's a little bit of loosening happening in that muscle. Now, you might find that as it loosens, you're able to just push a little bit further, but at no point do we want these stretches to be painful. They should be comfortable throughout. So I wouldn't take it beyond a 4 or a 5 out of 10 in terms of discomfort. If 10 out of 10 is gritting your teeth and sweating, 4 or 5 out of 10 is just feeling the stretch, not wanting to be there all day, but not being in terrible pain. So once you've done that side, you're going to swap over and do the other side. So this time the left foot is going to go at the back, the right foot is at the front like this, both feet are facing forward, and we're going to keep the back leg straight and bend the front knee, making sure to maintain that arch in that foot at the back, keeping that heel down on the floor, and just holding that 4 or 5 out of 10 stretch. Hold for 30 seconds, and then you can move on to the next stretch. Now, the next stretch I've got for you to unlock flexibility is the hip flexor stretch. And your hip flexors are the muscles that live at the front of the hip. They're very deep inside the hip, and they attach from your leg all the way up to your spine. So specifically, we're going to be stretching the psoas major. It's one of your biggest hip flexors. It's responsible for this movement here, bringing the knee up. Now, hip flexors being tight is not a good thing. Just like the calves, they can cause problems. One of the biggest problems caused by tight hip flexors is back pain. Because if your psoas is tight, it pulls on your spine and pulls your spine into a funny position when you walk and when you move, and it's one of the leading causes of discomfort in the lower back. Now, many people have tight hip flexors, and the reason for this is because we sit for too much of the day. So when you're in a sitting position, your legs are going to be like this, my right leg here, where your knee is closer to your chest as you're at your desk, and this hip flexor is in a shortened position. So if you're sat like that for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, when you get up to start moving again, your hip flexors are going to be tight. So I'm going to show you how to stretch them. This is a great stretch for office workers and people who sit a lot. You do need to get down onto one knee to do it. And if you're just getting started, I'd recommend having something to just put your hand on, just so you don't wobble or lose your balance. Now, if you've got a bad knee, you can put a towel or a pillow or something to cushion it underneath here. So hopefully it becomes more comfortable for you. Now, the stretch is easy to do in theory, but for many people it can be a bit of a challenge. I'll walk you through it first and then we'll have a look at a few different angles. So you're going to start off with the knee to be stretched on the floor, so it's this one that's getting the stretch. You're going to sit up nice and tall like this with your chest out, and then all we're going to do is squeeze the buttocks together and roll the pelvis underneath us. So you're going to imagine that you've got a tail and you're trying to tuck your tail in between your legs. So it's a tiny little movement, but as soon as you engage those buttock muscles and tuck your pelvis underneath you, you'll start to feel a stretch coming down the front here. Now, I like this stretch because it activates the glutes and stretches the hip flexors at the same time, so we get a double benefit from one simple stretch. Now, if you've got that stretch there and it feels like quite a nice stretch, but you want to just take it to the next level, what we can do is add in a side bend. And the way I like to do this is to take both hands, put them behind my head like this, squeeze those buttocks again, and as we squeeze, we're going to bend down to one side away from the leg being stretched. So we're lengthening the spine going towards the opposite side. So I'm stretching my left side here and I'm bending towards the right. And that has really intensified that stretch all the way down the front of the stomach, down into the hip flexor, and about halfway down the thigh as well. Now, for many people, this is quite an intense stretch. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you do have to be careful with it. Don't take it beyond that 5 out of 10 discomfort. I'll show you on the other side. So this time we're going to put one leg up like this, one leg down. We're going to sit up nice and tall, squeeze the buttocks to get that initial stretch. For some people, that's enough to just hold it there. But if you want to move it to the next level, you're going to take 2 hands behind the head and just bend towards the left side this time. So now we're keeping that buttock contraction, we're side bending towards the left, and that stretch has really intensified down that part of the leg. Now, I'd recommend holding both of these again for 30 seconds if you can. Coming back to these stretches 2 or 3 times a day is a brilliant thing to do, especially if you've noticed 1 or 2 of them being particularly tight. Doing them repeatedly is definitely the way to go, because stretches spread throughout the day are much better than lots done all in one go. The next stretch I've got for you is a quad stretch. And this is a great stretch for the muscles at the front of the thigh, which are very important to the function of your knee. If you get tightness in your quads, it compresses the kneecap into the femur and it can lead to irritation around that sensitive structure. So tight quads is not a good thing. Tight quads can also cause back pain, and they can also cause dysfunctions to the way that your legs move. Not a good combination, so if we stretch them, it can usually prevent that from happening. So for this exercise, it's very simple. We're going to lie on our side, and the side at the top is the one that's going to be stretched. You're going to lie in a comfortable position like this, and the first thing we're going to do is bring both knees up towards us here, which should be comfortable for most people. We're then going to bring the leg to be stretched a little bit higher. We're going to take our hand down and just grasp the shin near to the ankle on the top leg before slowly taking that leg out behind us, keeping that knee angle constant. Now at this point here, I can get a stretch right down the front of my quad. So that's the stretch we're going for here. We need to keep our backs relaxed as we do this. We don't want a tight lower back that's contracting to help you do this. And if you feel you can't do this movement, I'm going to show you an alternative in just a second. So if you get to this position and you feel the stretch, keep it at a 4 or a 5 out of 10. Hold for 30 seconds, repeating a few times on each side. And that's going to be really good for loosening up tight quads. Now, if you can't reach your ankle, don't worry, because there is a way you can make it easier for yourself. I've got a resistance band here. You can grab these pretty cheaply online, or you can use a towel if you just want to use something lying around the house. And what we're going to do here is just lasso the ankle like this. And then we're going to repeat without having to reach right down to the leg. So I've still got control of my leg using the band. Nothing changes. We bring this up and then we take this back behind us like this. And there we are, I've got the stretch again without having to strain to reach my leg. So we don't want you contracting your back hard to try and reach your leg or giving yourself back pain or cramp just trying to grab the ankle. Use something to help you if you can't reach your leg. This stretch is just as effective, and again we hold for 30 seconds and then roll over and do the other side. Repeat that a few times a day and it's going to give you much more flexible quads and unlock a lot of flexibility. The next stretch I've got for you is a great stretch for unlocking flexibility in the lower back. And many people are tight in their lower backs, so this is a great stretch for many people. But before I show you what it is, I just wanted to let you know that 88% of people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if that's you, you're missing out on being the first to hear about them when they come out. Scroll down, hit the subscribe button, it's totally free, and then you'll be the first to know about our new videos as soon as they're released. Let's get back to the stretches. So this is called the lumbar flexion in sitting, and it's basically an exercise that allows you to get a better forward bend. As we bend forward, we're stretching the muscles in the lower back called the erector spines and the quadratus lumborum. You have two on each side, and these muscles are responsible for keeping you upright. So if they're tight, because you're standing for a lot of the day, eventually that can lead to some back pain. So this exercise is very simple. You're going to sit on the edge of a chair with your feet a bit wider than you would normally sit and your hands on your knees like this. You can start sitting up nice and tall. And all we're going to do is just run your hands down the front of your legs nice and slowly. And you're going to keep going until you start to get a stretch at the bottom of your spine. Now we'll see how far I can go. I can get down to about here. And the things that are stopping me, I feel some tension in my hips, but I do feel a nice stretch in my lower spine. So you can see here I've got my hands on the floor. And it doesn't actually matter if you can't get your hands down that far. Some people can only get to here, some people can get to here, some people can get way beyond where I can. All that matters is you feel a bit of a stretch, and once you're there, you're just going to take a deep breath and try and relax into that stretch. Take a couple of those because we're going to be doing this for about 30 seconds. And each time you breathe out, you should notice you can possibly just get a few millimeters further down. Now, at no point should this be painful. If this starts to aggravate your lower back, you've gone too far or you've gone down too quickly. So make sure you're doing this very slow and controlled. And you're going to try and hold, as with all of these, for 30 seconds. Trying to do that several times a day. So I'm going to show you one more time. So we keep the feet nice and wide. We run the hands down, the legs nice and slow. And when we start to get that feedback from our lower back that we've gone far enough, we're just going to stop and breathe into the stretch, trying to relax into it. This is a nice exercise to do after exercise because some people finish the gym or they finish running or they finish walking and their back feels tight. This is a good one just to try and undo some of that tightness, and doing it several times a day is a great thing to do for better flexibility in your back. The last stretch I've got for you today to unlock more flexibility is the child's pose. And this is a great stretch that can target the back, the mid-back, and also your shoulders as well. So this exercise starts with you on all fours on your bed. You want your knees to be comfortable, so I'd recommend doing this on your bed, or if you're happy doing this on a mat on the floor, you can as well. You want your hands some way out in front of you, probably just above the level of your shoulders, and you want your back and your shoulders and your neck to be nice and relaxed, because what we're going to do is go back like this. So what we're going to do is keep the hands still, going to keep them planted, and then slowly rock back. You can bend your spine as you do this. You've got a bit of a curve in the spine, and just slowly sit back into this position like that. Now what I would recommend you do is have a play around with where your hands are and where you feel the stretch. Because if I bring my hands closer to my knees and I sink back like this, I can get a better stretch in my back. But if I bring my hands up here and then I sink back, I don't go as far back on my knees, but I feel a better stretch in my shoulders and in my lats. So this stretch, the child's pose, can be used for a number of different things. Now, if anyone's watched my past videos about my shoulder, you'll know that I have issues with both shoulders. And if I was doing this stretch, I would keep my arms quite far away from me and use it as a shoulder stretch like this, because I can feel a real pull underneath my armpits here where my shoulders are quite tight. And this would also be better for people who don't have great knees, because some people can't sit right back like this. So if you're one of those people, you might want to keep your hands a bit further away from you and come back like this, so you're not fully flexing your knees. Now, if you don't have problems with your shoulders, but you do have a tight lower back, you want to bring your arms in a little bit like this, round your spine as you go down, and then start to sit back like this. And now that stretch has completely changed from my shoulders and my arms to down lower in my spine. Now, some people can take this a step further, and if you want to get a really good stretch for your lats and your mid-back, find yourself a single bed or somewhere where you can grab the sides, and then you can sit back like this, dropping your head down, and now that is a much more intense stretch underneath the armpit. Now, obviously, I appreciate not everyone has beds like this at home, but if you have a double bed, at least you can grab one hand at a time, and then you can turn around and do the other side if you wanted to get both sides done equally. But using this bed like this is a great way to come back and stretch the area underneath the arms. With the child's pose, I don't always hold for 30 seconds. You can do, but with this exercise, I like to vary the position and maybe hold each pose for 5 or 10 seconds. We're trying to do at least 10 or 15 different positions in one session. It seems to be a great way to unlock flexibility. It's one I do quite a lot, and hopefully you'll find it useful too. So those are my 5 key stretches to help you unlock flexibility all over the body. I hope that video has been useful for you. If it has, do drop a comment below and let me know how you got on, because I love to read your thoughts. And if you want to get more from me, please pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and you can find it on Amazon using the link below. It's got loads more stretches like these ones to help you unlock more flexibility and improve your health in your 50s and beyond. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the next video.